Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's doing fantabulous. I know you are, girl. You know, stop it. Of course you are. Who's setting our focus? Seriously. Who is setting our focus? Who's doing it for you? Who are you choosing your focus, or is someone choosing your focus for you? Remember, 100% of the time, we are manifesting. 100% of the time, law of attraction is active. 100% of the time, this is an abundant universe that is constantly providing us what we ask for. 100% of the time. So, really the trick for most of us, and throughout our lives, you just get better at it. I don't know if, there might be people that are perfect, right? Maybe chime in if you are. But, most of us are improving on this process as we move through it. So, setting our focus is really what determines what you create. What you focus on is what you create. You're trying to bring more of something in the world, then you focus on that something and you create more of it. If, on the other side, by the way, if you're trying to get rid of something, some sort of disharmony in life, and I don't want to give examples, frankly, but I could, hatred, ill people, whatever, if you want to get rid of those negative things, then you focus on what the world would be like without them. You don't focus on not having them. You focus on the world without them, essentially, or what would you like to experience. If hatred affects you in some strange way, maybe people treat you horribly, then imagining a world where, people treat me well, I get along really great with people, we go out, we have fun, I have friends, right? Like, you focus on it from that standpoint. So again, focus-based universe is a wonderful thing. Now, I know a lot of us have our moments where maybe we like to kick it in front of the old TV, right? Let the TV tell us what's going on in the world, or let that movie tell us what's going on in the world. And again, 2 hours to get lost in a fantasy, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. TV can definitely, I think, be a little different. And a lot of it, I find the parts of TV that are most challenging, to be honest with you, as far as for our psyche, I believe, and for our well-being, is actually the commercials. Commercials are probably one of the most damaging parts of TV because they are implied to sell you something. So in most cases, they're telling you how you are inadequate in some way. There's something wrong with you that can be solved. Take this pill, or there's something wrong with you. Use this deodorant and you'll be better. There's something wrong with you. Well, try this fragrance. This will actually make you smell nice and people won't run from you screaming, right? There's always something wrong with us when we watch a lot of these things, and really marketing in general is kind of geared for that. And I get it. For me personally, I look at it from a very objective standpoint. Like, I understand what marketing is intended to do. And then when I look to maybe giving guidance to somebody, I say, hey, marketing's meant to manipulate you. So if you're looking to be manipulated less, probably getting away from that marketing, trying to not give it so much attention, maybe not watch as much TV, maybe stop staring at that billboard that's right outside your window, maybe, right? Like, that's a silly example, of course, because it's right outside your window. That's horrible. So I bet whatever that billboard is, you're very involved with in your world, right? But reading can be like that. We can choose books that maybe kind of take us down an avenue. Maybe, a lot of my audience is female. This isn't going to be as appropriate. But for guys, like, we can get into spy novels. We can get into some of those novels that maybe have some violence in there, or certainly video games. I know one of my favorite video games is not definitely free of violence. And so really having those types of things in our lives can sometimes create that energy there anyways. But we give and take. Again, there's no perfect set rules on this. There's no, here's the best way to do it. Because frankly, I think being 100% always focused on forward thinking and not like being entertained or having fun, I don't know, we're kind of brought up to where entertainment is a part of that. But really, if looking to enhance that experience, if looking to really make a difference in your co-creating, your manifesting, what you're trying to make happen in the world, a lot of times you can do that by enhancing your focus on those things more often. Now, I know there's thoughts between doing the imaginal work in your head and imagining the scenes and acting as if and like all that stuff. sure, I mean, that's all good, and that's still focus, so that still counts. But for me, too, when I talk about letting go and things along those lines, to me, focus, too, when things pop into your head, it's cool, or my focus is still down that path where certain things are definitely going to happen. Like, I may not be thinking about those specific things, but the life I'm envisioning, the life I'm working towards, that's included in it. And it is when I think about it. It is when I'm like, oh, this will be happening, this is happening, and like these things are falling in place, and I can see it kind of happening and crescendoing to this and moving up and out and all this, right, and beyond. So again, it's one of those where we kind of put it in, it's relative to us. It's relative to what you've been working on, what you're trying to create. Where are you happy with the pace? Me, I'm happy with the pace. I'm happy with the direction. I'm happy with the way things are going. I think if it went too much faster, it would be really hard for me to deal with, right? So it's going about as quick as I can handle it. So when you get to that place where, yeah, no, relative to where I'm at and what I'm going, yeah, everything's groovy, everything's good, just keep heading down that path. For some people that are out there where things can't possibly happen fast enough, well, spending more time focusing on that world where we're together, enhancing that. And certainly not getting onto things like social media where you could very easily have your focus taken from you, maybe placed on a picture of some other person, which then gets you thinking about that some other person and your specific person being together. That focus shift is definitely not helpful. Not helpful. You're actually putting power towards that thing that scares you by thinking about it so much. So again, what are we allowing to control our focus? If you're really having a hard time and you're really kind of in a place where you're maybe challenged or you're not going fast enough on your manifestation, there are certain places that might trigger you frequently that you probably want to avoid. Social media, of course, being one of them. TV can do it really badly. Like I said, self-love and a lot of that stuff that comes from TV commercials and marketing. Movies can be like that to an extent because there are some, at least here in the States, there's some very sociological components that are injected from Hollywood into the minds of those who watch these movies. It's just some of what's built into it. Not trying to get too crazy down that road, but again, and reading, like what kind of stuff are you reading? Are you reading a lot of those sappy romance novels and that's what you're expecting? Is that maybe realistic? Like maybe the dude you're dating is like a full biker dude, like, you know, maybe the idea of crying at a movie to him is absurd, right? Like maybe we're trying to inch him into it. And he's like, oh, you mean how like I had that tear in my eye when the nail gun went through my forehead? Like, yeah, like that, sir. You know, maybe we're being a little too sappy and maybe that's not, you know, a fair situation for the person you're going for. Kind of another extreme example. But again, these things tend to ebb and flow, and a lot of us get our triggers. A lot of us get that little moment where our focus gets taken, and we let it go. We let whatever it is own that focus for that period of time. And that is where I think the danger lies. Catch yourself when it happens. That's great. It's going to happen. Catch yourself when it happens and put your focus back on something that's maybe more positive, something that feels better for sure, and something that's going to make a larger difference in your life than thinking about the negative thing or this bad thing or this thing that feels bad or this thing that's horrible that just happened to you or the fact that if you don't use this new shade of lipstick, then nobody's going to look at you, you know, that kind of thing. Imagine the life you would like it to be. Don't imagine, you know, well, imagine the life you'd like it to be. Don't try to do negatives. Imagine the life you'd like it to be. Hopefully this helps. Dan RadioStyle, who is setting your focus? Make sure you own that, by the way, as often as possible. Hopefully 100% of the time, but certainly as often as possible. Make sure you're the owner of the focus. Thank you so much. Leave comments. Subscribe if you haven't, please. You can click the little picture of my face at the very end of the video. And also, if you put the little bell icons next to the little subscribe thingy, that'll let you know whenever I put out a new video, and you can be one of the first people to get in there, first to comment, first to thumbs up. All that stuff's good times. And if not, you get a cool number sometimes, too. A lot of good things. I keep seeing people, someone said, it was the 22nd something or other. It's like, that's awesome. So, again, thank you. We will do more shows. You can put in comments or questions for other shows you'd like me to do. I'm always open to that as well. Thank you so much.